about City Bridge and some of the development. First, focusing on City Bridge. You're talking about potentially 1,700 residents and over 2,000 employees, 509 of which will be at Wegmans alone. You cannot absorb that many people in cars. This is not exactly on the metro. You're going to need these buses. Second, schools. The following schools are highly bus dependent: Ellington, Hardy, Wilson, and Deal all use D and the 30 buses you anticipate. Let me add, a couple of those buses originate east of the river, and unless we are perpetuating a sense of educational and job apartheid, then perhaps we need to rethink this plan. Main Street's grant was given to Glover Park. Reducing any bus service to Glover Park works at cross purposes with both the city and the business community, and this would be a mistake. The data that you have is not valid for one other reason, and one is that there is something known as the DC-1 card, which very rarely works at all. You really won't get any sense of what students are doing if you don't have real data. You frequently have broken machines, crowded buses, problems that eliminate any chance of accurately assessing what the needs are for that part of the city. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Ritchie. Stephen Hess, followed by Stuart Schwartz. Mr. Hess.
Thank you. I speak only for myself. I don't represent any organizations, and I'm here to try to understand, given the apparent proposal of eliminating D1 and reducing D2, that I may very well find that I have no way to get to work or back home from work. Those are two routes that I take every day. I'm sure that many other people in this situation. It's hard for me. I'm about to be 87 years old. I still work downtown. I once walked to work. I can't do that. Once drove a car. I can't do that. I can't do that. So this is very key to me, and I hope that the board will understand there are people like me, and these should, I hope, will be factored into your thinking one by one. Nothing more I can say than I live conveniently a block away from a bus stop. In circles, so I take the bus back there. And the buses work very well for me. I'm very pleased to be one of your riders. I hope I can continue to be one of your riders. I hope I will be in the future service and be sufficient for me to get to work and to get home from work. That's all I ask of you.
Thank you, Mr. Hess. Stuart Schwartz, followed by Bill Orleans.
Thank you, Chair Schneidberg and members of the board. I'm the Coalition for Smarter Growth. We're a 23-year-old organization working on land use, transportation, and environmental issues. Very supportive of transit-oriented development as the way for this region to grow. We're extremely concerned about the proposed bus service cuts and deeply troubled by the building responses of the jurisdictions as they debate who pays for what and who pays what. We're frustrated by the lack of unified commitment to improving bus and rail service. At the same time that you are advancing and endorsing the bus transformation project, we believe the budget overall goes in the wrong direction. And this is largely because of the arbitrary 3% cost cap. We commend WMATA for seeking ways to increase ridership in spite of the arbitrary cap through this complex set of changes. And we support certain parts of it: free transfer between trains and buses, increased frequency of rail on a number of bus lines, restoration of some late night service hours, $2 flat fare on median, and so forth. However, we oppose the increase in the base rail fare. We propose adding $1 maximum fare for long trips, and propose charging people a fee for cash at this point because of the equity concerns. Certainly, we have to figure out ways of providing extensive access for purchasing and reloading smart fare cards. We are certainly concerned about the extent of the bus cuts, which many folks will talk about. Instead of cutting service in this piecemeal way and redirecting service in this piecemeal way through a budget process, we should do a full route network redesign study like it's called for in the bus transformation project. Give the region's traffic, the high cost of living, the need to help people work their way out of poverty, the need to urgently reduce vehicle miles traveled and greenhouse gas emissions, we should be pouring more resources into our region's transit services and making those services the best they can be. It's time to remove the 3% subsidy growth cap because it's harmful impact on bus riders and lower-income riders in particular. We urge you to change direction on this budget to increase funding and service, not cut service. And we urge you to implement the bus transformation project recommendations as soon as possible, including dedicated bus lanes, route redesign, and affordable fares. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Schwartz. Yes, Mr.
Mr.
Cole.
Schwartz? Mr. Schwartz,
Stewart.
can I ask you a question? Did I hear you say you opposed all of the 29 route cuts proposed in the general manager study?
I had longer testimony here. Obviously, it's a lot to comment upon in 2 minutes. I mean, if some of your routes have been changed to reflect the fact that there will be free transfers and that the people will still be able to make an affordable trip and make their connections, even after a certain bus route that might be redundant in that area is taken, or if you're indeed showing that there is not a diminution in service because of some of the changes, yes. It's a lot to get your head around. Some of the best experts are the ones that are here who use particular routes. But I think it has to be studied in the context, not of a 3% cap that forces you to do such things, and also in the concept of a redesign study that's focused on how we can both improve frequency on critical routes while providing coverage where it's needed, especially for low-income population.
Could you
Very
send us
difficult to do this through a budget
I was going to
process.
say, could you send us your comments
Sure.
and testimony for the docket in the budget process? Thanks.
Thank you, sir. Bill Orleans, followed by ANC Commissioner Krishna Bhatta.
I just want to say that I missed the opportunity to respond as well. If Mr. Schwartz won't answer that question, Mr. Coleman, I will. Yes, I oppose all such proposed reductions or eliminations of service proposed by I think if we really want to transform us in the Washington region, we need to expand the regional service, add more routes, and make it inclusive of the 19%, which WMATA and Bus 17 acknowledges aren't now currently served by any provider in the region. As a lead into today's discussion and previous discussions, a statistic is offered that now forgetting what that was. We'll continue to agree that the service should be provided and not reduced. But there's a number that's coincident with the budget proposal that reductions in service, either through elimination or simply reductions in service, would impact 5 billion rides a year. The other statistic was that in the last 10 years, there's been a decline, for 6 years, a decline in metro bus service of 13%. I don't have access to the information. I would ask Robbie's staff here and others here to assist me in this, but I know for a fact that the last several budget years, metro bus service specifically has been reduced. When you reduce service, you're naturally going to have less ridership. And to use the excuse that further have less service because ridership is declining is inappropriate. I think that reductions in service is a self-defeating policy. We should be figuring out how to expand service so as to include everybody not now available. Lastly, I want to suggest that as Bus 17 is presented to the jurisdictions, it's premature for the board to endorse this plan at this time. Maybe hear from the other jurisdictions what they have to say, and specifically Mr. Goldman, I'd like to suggest that as much as the Northern Virginia Transportation Commission is going to be receiving a presentation apart from the Northern Virginia jurisdictions, similarly there should be a special meeting of the Washington Suburban Transit Commission where residents in the evening, not Thursday morning or Tuesday morning, residents in the evening can come to hear the presentation and engage in a colloquy with Bus 17. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Orleans. Next, ANC Commissioner Krishna Bhatta, followed by Valerie Jabla.
Good morning. I'm a neighborhood commissioner representing the Burley and Georgetown neighborhoods. We've heard from so many of our residents since these route changes were proposed in December. Many of them are here today. And you know, they didn't have to be if they had more information. It's actually very frustrating that they don't know what you have planned and what they're supposed to be commenting on. Metro wouldn't come to the ANC meeting last week and to explain themselves. It's very unfortunate. I think I agree with everyone that end unit. We need more service, not less. And we don't know what your changes are. Are there more service? Are they less service? What is it? These changes are proposed without explanation or justification, no route maps, no data, and as we've heard, we would like to see the data to know whether it's something that could be questioned. Students get undercounted all the time. We hear about it. Drivers just think students have free passes, so they don't count them. They don't get counted as they go in. I represent two big schools in my middle district, Hardy Middle School and Duke Ellington School. Some of those students are here today. They don't feel that they're being counted. They don't feel like they're being listened to. And there's big developments coming on Wisconsin Avenue with lots of people who will drive if you cut their buses. So this is backwards. You need to have a planning process with consultation from the outset, not a budget process that proposes the reductions and then forces us to come down here. Please do better. This is so important to so many people. These people deserve an explanation and deserve the details. Thank you.
Ms. Valerie Jadlow, followed by, I believe it's Ben Childers. Welcome.
Hi, my name is Valerie Jadlow, I'm a parent of Duke Ellington High School. As you know, Duke Ellington is a citywide school with students distributed across the city to attend it. Cutting the D2 bus would add at least 20 minutes one way to my child's commute, which already takes the better part of an hour by metro rail and the bus. Cutting the 30 buses would additionally affect that commute, essentially removing 5 public transit options. My child and hundreds of classmates potentially affected by these proposed cuts cannot be here to advocate for their schools, which include Hardy, Deal, and Wilson. Please do not assume their absence right now during the school day is consent to cuts that would adversely affect them. I wanted to add in closing that these students have also endured crowded buses, so crowded that the buses simply don't allow while drivers wave them in to move faster. I understand that this may have resulted in undercounting of riders, which is sadly ironic given the proposed cuts as well as the crowding. I am here to ask that you support our kids and the schools in these affected communities, which have been welcoming students from across the city for many decades, and do not cut the D1, D2, and 30 buses. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Jadlow. Ben Childers, followed by Ray Phillips. Mr. Childers.
May it please the board, I wish to comment on the Metro bus changes. My name is Benjamin Childers. I'm a resident in Warren Park. Been there for about a year at this point. And I'm here not only representing myself, but additionally more than 400 residents that have emailed both Councilmember Che and Mayor Bowser to let them know that they do not want to see the dedicated D1 and D2 bus lines eliminated from our neighborhoods. These residents and the rest of the community are going to be negatively impacted by the loss of the dedicated D1 and D2 bus lines. These buses are a lifeline from our neighborhood into the greater DC region and allow us to fully take in this wonderful city. Moving to these neighborhoods, we're all aware that there were no metro train lines, but with a robust systems of buses, we knew that we'd be able to move out the city and take advantage of transferring onto the rail system. Over the last few years, we have seen reduced schedules, and now a possible elimination of these dedicated bus lines that service our communities. We are feeling abandoned by the WMATA board through this budgeting process, and we ask that the board reconsider its plans to eliminate the D1 bus line and the merging of the D2 and G2 bus lines. And, at a minimum, require that there is a public hearing for any of the proposed changes to bus lines that will result in a loss of service for any of the affected neighborhoods. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Childers. Mr. Phillips, followed by Daniel Clark. Mr. Phillips.
Good afternoon. I've lived in D.C. since 1983, in Wilbur Park since 1988. In those 32 years, bus service has only been cut back and degraded. It has never been improved and expanded. And I think that's exactly the wrong direction that D.C. and Wilbur Park needs to be going. To improve a metro system by cutting it, by reducing ridership, will ultimately result in the hollowing out and self-destruction of that system. The more ridership is cut back, particularly in neighborhoods like my own Clover Park, which do not have a subway station. The more the system is going to degrade, it's going to be a vicious cycle. Not only because ridership declines and quality declines, but also because political support for the subsidies that pay for Metro decline. Our property taxes, our income taxes, all of that goes to support Metro, and you can't expect that support to continue if the service that the people who live in those neighborhoods receive is constantly degraded, cut back, and eliminated. Also, I don't think that we can have an effective comment period for any of these proposed cuts, given that we have received so far no detail about what exactly those cuts entail. What does it mean to combine the D2 and G2 bus lines? Could mean anything. Could mean that one is canceled and one the other continues. Could mean something in between. So we really need to have more information about all of these cuts. I'm against all of them. I'm against any policy that leads to decreased ridership. I've read through the plan documents. Some of them have service increases in some areas, but that's more than offset by the cuts in others. These are actual riders that are being cut back, and I don't think it's worth improving theoretical riders in order to cut back those actual riders. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Daniel Clark, followed by Maggie Jenkins. Daniel So I'm looking for the Daniel Clark at 2712. That's you. Yeah. Okay, Daniel Clark, aka 2712.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My name is Daniel Clark. I relied on the 3730 and 30S buses since I moved to the neighborhood last March. The bus allowed me to ride work without any transfers, without any hassle, and just a straight shot. But I know there are several other riders with whom I share the same ride and have to know them, stay at the same bus stop every morning. This is an important connection to major players and federal agencies in Capitol Hill that affect many residents nearby. My wife also utilizes the 37 bus at least once a week. It's a much quicker route than going up Wisconsin Avenue or with using them several stops along the way. So I would also recommend, eliminating that. The reason my family moved to Lower Park was for access to these bus lines, to several different routes that allow us to get to different neighborhoods in the city, and I would encourage the board against eliminating those. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Clark. Maggie Gendron, followed by Alex O'Donnell.
Hi. Hi there. My name is Maggie Gendron, and I work for the Greater Washington Partnership. On behalf of the partnership, I'm here to ask the board to endorse the full suite of recommendations put forth by the Business Transformation Project, including the creation of a regional task force. The partnership is a civic alliance of the leading employers from Baltimore and Richmond, and one of our priorities is strengthening the transportation system throughout the capital region. We're fortunate to have dedicated public officials and active stakeholders working hard to make the bus competitive here in the capital region. To transform the bus system, we need commitment from our decision makers to ensure the bus is competitive, which requires coordinated regional execution of best practices. Frequent and reliable transit can and will improve the economic growth and regional vitality. Partnership joined the Metro Now Coalition's Better Bus Campaign with partners like the Federal City Council to call on leaders to prioritize the bus, implement equitable fare policies, improve regional coordination, and report on bus success. The fiscal year 2021 budget has many positive proposals, free transfers between bus and rail, more weekend service, and restoring some late night hours. We urge you to adopt these changes in your final budget. The proposed budget also has some changes that will harm low-income riders, such as increasing the cash fare and charging peak fares after midnight when many people still have to work. Inequitable transit fare policies harm the economic productivity of the region by making it harder for companies to retain the workers and fill open positions. Metro Now and the Bus Transformation Project have called for a comprehensive bus network redesign to maximize the regional network, and to compete as a region, we need to create a world-class competitive transit network. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Alex O'Donnell, followed by Linda Lawson.
Hello, I'm a Glover Park resident, and I'm here today to convey my disapproval of the proposed reductions to busing services, specifically the elimination of the 30N, 30S, 37, and D1 buses, and the alteration of the D2 line. I'm a recent graduate living and working in DC, and I commute to work every day using the 30 buses. I depend on them for my commutes, and I would have a severely more difficult ride to and from work without them. I live in a neighborhood with many other students, recent graduates, and professionals, few of whom have cars, and many with, and none of which live in walking distance of metro lines. All of us rely on busing services. I can say from personal experience that the line is underserved as is. Many buses packed to the brink and drivers idling as passengers cram together to make room. Sometimes these buses are riding past the stop because there's no more room for one additional person. Reducing service and eliminating buses is the opposite of what we need in our community, and I ask you to take this into consideration. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Linda Lawson, followed by Maria Shaw Gray.
So I'd just like to echo the comments about maintaining the 30 buses, which I use to go across town all the time. I'd like to make a point, I'd like to just echo the points that many people have already made, but 2 points. Those of us who are in our later years are not as able to walk as much as we used to be able to, so those of us who live pretty far from metros are just simply not able to necessarily get to Metro Rail. The issue of providing free transfers between buses and rail and assuming that that's equivalent to a bus line riding across town is simply not true. It takes longer. For those of us who have to wait outside the cold, it is not an easy transfer. And for those of us who have been standing at bus stops and in winter weather and have bus lines full of people pass us by because they're too full to take us is really just dreadful. So I just want to make those few comments in addition to the others that were made earlier. Thanks.
Maria Shaw Gray, followed by Ryan Crowley. Maria.
Good afternoon. My name is Maria. I take the D2 and the D1 every day, and I have to take transportation, the D1 and the D2 to go to private school at Massachusetts Border. I would like to talk to you about my daughter has learning disability, and I don't want my child to be confused with different buses. And I raised her to take the D1 and the D2 every day to go to school, and we need the D2 and the D1 always at Global Park. Thank you.
Thank you. Ryan Crowley, followed by Ms. Jackie Newman. Mr. Crowley.
Hello. My name is Ryan Crowley. I too live in the Glover Park neighborhood of DC. I'm testifying today to express my opposition to Moana's proposed elimination of the D1 and the 30S, 30N bus routes and the merger of the D2 and G2 routes. This proposal will have a profound negative impact on our neighborhood's residents and businesses and the city's efforts to address climate change. I use the D1 and D2 buses every week to travel to my office near Meeting Station. Without a bus, I'd probably have to use car share service or drive to work, which would be time-consuming, stressful, expensive, and contribute to traffic congestion, as well as release carbon into the atmosphere. My evening commute already averages about 45 minutes. Eliminating the D1 and D2 bus lines would lengthen my commute and reduce the amount of time I have with my family. The buses that serve as Glover Park's link to the metro system and other areas of the city. They serve as a link between the businesses on Wisconsin Avenue and their customers and employees. The Glover Park commercial strip is still recovering from the loss of Whole Foods on Wisconsin Avenue, If the bus routes are eliminated or altered, it could make full recovery even more difficult. I strongly urge WMATA to reject those changes. Thank you.
Thank you. Jackie Neal, followed by Sydney Forrester Wilson.
Hello, thank you. Good afternoon. My name is Jackie Knoll. I'm also a resident of Roller Park. I've been there for nearly 3 years. While I used my car to go to work because I had free parking, since retiring, I certainly am using my car a whole lot less and much happier about that. The D1 and the D2 stop in front of our building. They are often off hours. They are often with less ridership, but at peak hours they certainly have many people riding on. Elderly people. I work with the village, the Roller Park Village. Many people require rides because the buses are not convenient for them. So eliminating any of those buses would be really a shame. The other issue that I just heard about was how many students ride the bus. I think that's a critical issue for you folks to take up. I'm glad that you're doing public hearings. I think people need to know what it is that you're proposing to do with a combination of the G2 and the G2. And I hope you take to heart what people are saying about our important link for the people who live in Lower Park to the subway system and the rest of the city. Thank you.
Thank you. Sydney Forrester Wilson, followed by Giselle Varney.
Good afternoon, welcome on board. My name is Sydney Forrester Wilson, and I'm a senior class president at Duke Ellington School of the Arts. And I'm here on behalf of the Ellington students and families. Eliminating the bus routes will have a significant negative impact on our school community. As you know, DCPS transportation policies say that DCPS is a metropolitan district with a variety of public transportation options and therefore does not provide routine transportations for students traveling to and from school. Students and their families rely on WMATA to get to school. With the closest metro station to our school being DuPont and limited public parking, Ellington is isolated and dependent on WMATA bus services. The majority of students at Ellington come from the wards 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. But even for students in Ward 1, such as myself, or Ward 2 and 3, we also rely on WMATA. The D1, D2, and D6 are primary routes for most of the students and teachers to get to school, with peak rush hour times at the start and end time of the school day. One of my closest friends lives in Anacostia and travels by public transportation every day. Her family has one car and a younger child. There's no alternative but to take the bus. Like her, many of the students and teachers have to take other forms of public transportation to get to those buses at DuPont. And while alternatives could be a substitute for some, the loss of buses that stop right in front of the school and are easily accessible to DuPont will negatively impact the students, teachers, and surrounding community. We students were amazed when we heard that part of the reason for the elimination of these buses is because of low ridership. We had to ask, do you know that we exist and we are dependent on these buses? I can't speak for the ridership during the day, but we're in school from 8:30 a.m. until 5 p.m. Generally, when we arrive and leave, the buses are crowded. How is Ellington's ridership calculated? It's routine for drivers to not ask or allow us to scan our fast food cards, which I assume would trap us. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Giselle Varney, followed by Reverend Rachel Landers. Giselle? Okay, Reverend Rachel Landers, followed by Michael Hayden.
Good afternoon. I'm Pastor Rachel Landers-Bognes. I'm a minister in the Presbyterian Church USA. I'm a Wilbur Park resident, and I am a D&30 rider. I represent my family, but I also represent many other families who couldn't come to a Thursday 1 p.m. hearing. And my comment is in regards to the proposed D&30 bus route reductions. I understand that there will be an additional meeting, and I'm grateful for that, but I wanted to share my concerns as soon as possible. I thank the WMATA board for your efforts to tackle the many complicated issues that I'm sure a metropolitan area must present. As I said, I'm a resident of Glover Park and a pastor to many of its residents. I take the D bus when I don't bike to church. I'm a mother of 2 kids who go to Stoddard Elementary School, and that school uses the D buses to go to the Fillmore Arts School daily. Before that, we took the D when they were enrolled at Francis Egan School Without Walls because Stoddard doesn't have adequate pre-K education. And many other Glover Park residents send their young children there taking the D buses. Taking the bus is one of the big ways that I try and teach my kids environmental responsibility, being connected to a larger community, and caring for others. This is a neighborhood that needs its buses, and it's a neighborhood that loves its buses. It's a part of who we are, and they're a vital part of the livelihood of our corner of DC because of the aforementioned reasons. We don't have a metro. There are many people, there are a lot of young families, but that is not it. We have more older members too who need the bus. And surely there are ways to lower these costs without eliminating these things. As a parent of young kids, I'm worried about increased traffic by non-residents. I frequently see Uber and Lyft drivers not respecting the roadways, and we are grateful for this bus service. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Hagan, followed by Adriana Delaski.
You thought you called me, Mr. Chair. Michael Central.
Yep, Michael Hagan. I don't see you on the list, Michael.
Two Michaels,
Michael Hagan.
I'd like to speak though, please.
Mr. Hagan.
You're on. I won't reiterate some of the points that have been made. I'm a Lower Park resident. My wife uses D1, I use the D2. We've been there for 30 years using these buses. I would like, in the next hearings that are occurring, some transparency on some of the ways these changes are phrased. Merging the D2 and D2, the D2 and D2. That means nothing. They come across the 35th, one goes south, one goes north. What does that mean? So some detail in the next hearings on exactly what that means to merge these. And likewise, whether or not any external effects from people like myself, if the D2 is not there, I'm on the road going up to Penley Town, parking, the external effects on the transportation system in DC. It's not just a metro bus issue. There are other external effects when you're cutting back on these routes. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Adriana Delaski, followed by Daniel Clark, 3903.
Good afternoon. My name is Adriana. I'm the president of Global Park resident. We moved to DC in 1996, coming from New Jersey, and one point of moving and living in the city was exactly that we didn't have to drive everywhere. We can use public transportation. It's an essence of living in the city. So cutting public transportation, especially in areas that are not served by metro, is just absurd from my point of view. Everywhere I work, since 96 in DCP, I work as an architect. I was able to go to my workplace by bus and I continue to do so. There are also other reasons, people refer to them, environmental reasons. If somebody wants to build a big building in DC, you need to have public transportation within half a mile. So it depends on the degree of need that you want to reach. If we don't have this public transportation, how are we going to keep our city? Thank you very much.
Daniel Clark, followed by Ian Lazar.
I'm Daniel Clark. I'm a
Are you sure?
Can I get a point of clarification? Did I read correctly that combining the D2 and D2 does not require public comment?
This is, I'm not sure, to be honest.
I think I read that.
Comment.
And if that's what it says, I'd be very opposed to that as it affects hundreds of families and students and elderly. I think that we ought to be able to know what these proposed changes are as quickly as possible so that we can comment effectively. I'm not opposed to changes just because there's change, but I have a making changes without informing those who affects. Like I'm representing families. We've talked about how the changes in bus routes affect students, it affects the elderly, it affects, all of us, those who are working, but also affects families. I can't hop on a bike with my daughter. I can't take Uber is much more challenging in terms of car seats. I can't do a scooter. Walking somewhere takes a long, long time, and she has small legs. And so the bus is one of the primary means that we can get around, and one of the most effective means to use. Other options is much more difficult for families like myself. And so I feel that changing these bus routes affects negatively our most vulnerable residents, those who ride the bus because of cost, those who ride the bus because they're sick, those who ride the bus because there's no other option. And as I was walking across the street with my daughter to come on over here, she goes, "Daddy, what are we doing?" I said, "We're going to go to a boring meeting." She says, "What is it about?" I said, "They want to take away some of our buses." She said, "That's not nice." And so I think removing some of these, giving our most vulnerable residents less options isn't nice. And so to be a good neighbor, I'm here speaking on behalf of families. And thank you.
Mr. Clark, before you go, just so you're aware of why we responded the way we did, we don't know the actual specifics yet because all those documents are being prepared, but we had to wait for some board action here today to receive them. So, to start the public input process. So, but we are aware, you and your neighbors have been advocates, and we've been hearing you. So, we weren't aware in general of what was happening or potentially proposed, but didn't know a lot of the specifics.
All right, thank you.
All right, Ian Lazara, followed by Randy Rudd.
Hello, my name is Ian Lazara. I'm a resident of Glover Park for 1 year. I'm also a millennial. I haven't had a car since 2010, and I've lived in cities with public transit and relied on public transit. I chose to live in Glover Park and purchase there because it's affordable. I cannot afford a home or a condo anywhere near Metro Line, so buses are important for me to get home and provide access to affordable housing. As everyone else has said and shown, we're a bus-dependent neighborhood. I won't reiterate that too much. Just want to make the point, if you're looking to increase ridership, millennials are part of that. Those available riders get us off our phones and onto buses by cutting. So I'm not convinced that these enhancements, as they're labeled, are actually enhancements. They seem to affect people negatively and would drive down ridership. I also want to challenge Metro that in this analysis coming up on these proposed changes to visit the bus transformation recommendation 1, providing frequent and convenient bus service that connects communities, promotes housing affordability, regional equity, and economic growth, and also revisiting recommendation 3, create an excellent customer experience to retain and increase ridership. Thank you.
Randy Ryland, followed by William Helm. Mr. Ryland. Okay, William Helm, followed by Deborah Washington.
Good afternoon. William Green. I'm in Cathedral Heights. I ride the D and the 30 buses every day. So first and foremost, I would ask each and every one of you to take one of those buses during rush hour. Put out a farragut and go through Georgetown on a 30N or 30S. See how many 31s and 33s come through at that time. Planning to replace all the 30Ns and 30Ss with the 31 or 33s, perhaps it will work. We all know that Wisconsin Avenue is a pretty major artery. I see a lot of people, not only students going to Wilson, but also people going to work at Safeway or Giant. So I just want you to understand that there's a wide variety of people who take these buses, not just those of us who live in Glover or People Heights. On the D buses, I see the students, particularly from schools like Ellington and Hardy, all the time. You've heard it already, how it will impact. So again, I'm a person who's on that bus every day, back G2, 30N, 30S, and the 37 for that matter. Thank you.
Thank you. Deborah Washington, followed by Mary Mervyn. Step right here. Okay. Mary Mervyn. I hope I pronounced that right. It's close.
Only English professors or French students would get that name, or Ben. I have to say I was kind of surprised arriving in the composition of the board. I would have thought it would reflect more of the community. So don't take that negatively. But I just following up with the gentleman said before, I don't know how many of you actually take the bus or live in a neighborhood that doesn't have a metro. So I would encourage you to get out there, get on the buses. I don't really think you understand what you're doing. I really don't know if you do. I've been in Washington 30 years. I live in Cathedral Heights now. I take all of those buses. I need multiple buses. We need redundancy. I work downtown. I live in Cathedral Heights. If Trump Tower has an event, they close Pennsylvania Avenue. The 30s cannot get through. Did you know that? So for me to get home, after waiting 40 minutes for a bus, I have to jump on the metro and go to DuPont and try to grab the D2. Guess what happens at 7 o'clock at DuPont? There's a shift change. At 7 o'clock, there'll be 2 buses empty with no drivers. Because for some reason, WMATA and its infinite wisdom has a driver on the L2, and I know this because I know all bus drivers, they are the heroes here, by the way, the drivers. Has to get off a bus in rush hour, get on the metro, get off at DuPont, and try to get on the bus for his people. We are the bus drivers' people. The bus drivers know what is going on with these lines. You don't talk to them. You don't talk to us. This is not problem solving. DC is a world-class city, and we have really shitty bus service. Think of a solution. Think of solutions to these problems. I can afford more. I get subsidized parking. I can get home in 15 minutes at night. I'm willing to spend an hour and a half to get home on a bus, to be able to be a to take public service. I have never taken an Uber. They run people down. Bus is safer, environmentally better, and best for the city. So do better, please, better problem solving. You can do it. You should try.
Thank you. Eric Grimlin, followed by Chandra Gordier.
Members of the board, my name is Eric Grimlin. I'm a resident of Glover Park. While the following comments are anecdotal and based on my experience, I believe they're an example of larger sentiment. I'm troubled to hear the proposed Metro bus changes, which would significantly impact all Glover Park residents in addition to others. I work in 9th and E Northwest and rely on the 30 or 33 bus lines for my commute, as they're the only bus lines that take me from Glover Park to Federal Triangle and Fort area. As things currently stand, I experience packed buses in the morning and evening, regardless of which of the above-mentioned lines I take. Eliminating commuter options from the Glover Park neighborhood would further overtax the bus lines currently serving us. Over the past few years, I've also worked at 15th and K Street and relied on the D1 bus to get to and from work. The D1, which is already a limited service route, only serving rush hour times, would regularly be standing room only by the time I made it to my stop at 39th Street in Benton, which is only 7 stops into the route. This was a frequent occurrence, so much so that I submitted an online comment encouraging additional D1 buses during rush hour, not less D1 buses. Glover Park is already an area that is less accessible due to our lack of Metro Rail access. Eliminating the D1 and 30 lines and combining the D2 and G2 lines would further remove the neighborhood from the rest of the city, strain the remaining 31 and 33 lines, discourage new businesses from filling the many already vacant commercial spaces along Wisconsin Avenue, and add to the congestion and environmental impact inherent in more people driving to work. I urge the board to reconsider the proposed changes to the D1, D2, and the 30 bus lines. Thank you.
Thank you. Shanda Fournier, followed by Angela Bradford. Shanda, okay. Angela?
Hi, my name is Angela Bradbury, and I am ANC 3C06 Commissioner, and I represent an area along Wisconsin Avenue. I'm here to plead for the 30 buses that are on the chopping block not just for my constituents, but also for some very important residents who will be moving into the neighborhood very soon. And those are the residents of the new Ward 3 short-term family housing shelter located at 3320 Idaho Avenue. It is under construction and is going to open in March. There will be 50 families located there and 180 people. None of them will have cars. One of the reasons the city selected this location is because of a robust bus service. The nearest metro stations are about a 15-minute walk away, and so if you have kids or you're buying groceries, that's just really not a realistic option. I have to say I'm kind of baffled by the disconnect that I see between the direction that you're going and the direction the city is going. If you look at the comprehensive plan amendments that the Office of Planning is putting together, the Wisconsin Avenue corridor is slated for a lot more development. The city wants to change zoning and have a lot more people, and the text amendments show that those people ideally would not have cars and they would rely on transit. We already have a couple of large developments in the works right now, the redevelopment of Meeting 16. And also 4000 Wisconsin will bring about 1,400 new units online of housing, and those people, the transportation plans for those projects were premised on a lot of the people who are moving into those projects, those housing units, not having cars. So I would urge you to not cut these buses. Thank you.
Is it HP Hiller? Followed by Michael Brown.
Good afternoon. My name is Howard Wilson. Forgive my voice, I'm fighting, but I'm a proud parent of the Ellington student. I'm also the PTO president of the University of the Arts. One thing I've noticed that we haven't mentioned is public safety. And what most likely will happen with the coming back of the bus is that you're going to have more congestion in the streets in the morning just from parents who can drop their kids off to school and picking them back up. Now, I know none of us here would like to tell a family member that the reason why a member got hurt or wasn't saved was because an ambulance was part of their child. WMATA, in many ways, is a public utility. As such, part of your mandate has to be promoting public safety. This is not safe. So I would like to ask you to consider what you're doing just for the safety, not just of the young students, but for everyone who lives in that area of Georgetown. Thank you.
Thank you. Michael Brown, followed by Lana Morgan. Michael Brown. Okay, Lana Morgan. Mrs. Morgan. Okay, Rico, you're up. Rico Thurston. Or Dan.
Happy New Year to everyone. I was visiting Ohio, South Carolina, and Texas. Metro access, I'm one of the board members. Metro access, the pass. We have, and got it that we have over 2,500 students. I am also the president of Black Lives Matter for the Deaf. So I'm hearing from Gaudet president, our students, and our staff. They want to know when is this going to happen? When is Metro is going to put in monthly pads? I've been all 3 states. I traveled all over the country to see how a different transit system is doing a monthly pad on transportation, on access. We see it in Ohio, we see it in Florida, we see it in Texas. We see it all over the country, but DC. We want to know who's going to suffer? The disabled people. The people with the disabilities are going to suffer more because WMATA, when I want to wake up, I used to work like that, do not want to give us a fair access monthly pass. Okay? If that was one of y'all have a disability, what we gotta do? Put yourself in our shoes. Live in a disabled community, a deaf person, a blind person, any disability. Put yourself in our shoes. They ain't gonna tell us we need a monthly pass. Someone wake up. Please, I would like to know when and how. When they going to wake up and give us a pass what we asked for. 2,000. I try to talk to the country. I'm hearing from people. They say, when is DC going to decide to give us a monthly pass? I hear from my 80-year-old grandmother. She's 103. She read financial access. She asked me the same question today. She texted me today. She said, grandson, when is this going to happen? When I'm dead and gone, that's when they're going to do it? When is this going to happen? And I tell my grandmother every day, I'm going to fight and I cannot fight anymore longer. Two days put me 50 feet under, that's when it's done. Two days, I'm going to teach. I'm going to see there every month. I'm going to send email, I'm going to see letters. Thank you.
Thank you. Lori McLean, followed by the last speaker, Michael Singer. McLean? Michael, I'm gonna go ahead and let you speak. You weren't on the list, so I'll give you 1 minute, okay?
I'll take it, Mr. Chair.
All right.
Members can't be choosy. As been said, the first will be last, the last will be first. Thank you. Good afternoon, all. Michael Sinter, disabled veteran, served our country more than most, riding and caning on crutches. Thank you for your indulgence, Mr. Chair. Number one, representative from DC. Metro owes me money. It's theft. Metro Transit Chief, Police, Anzello has indicated as much. Councilman Robert White promised me I'm going to get paid, and I haven't. I'm looking for you, Madam Commissioner, to help me here. I'll let you contact information. You can talk more offline. I can give you the particulars. I was at your confirmation hearing. I was impressed with your presentation. The honeymoon's off. Now I want to see what's going to really be done. Results count. There's a block on my phone. Mr. General Manager, you know this. Why can't I call you? As long as you don't like me, I'm not going to fight you. This is madness. Get that block lifted, okay? I need to call Metro Access and other folks with my help, and I can't do that because you have put a block on my phone. Stop it! You get paid, what, $1 million? And then you don't want to speak with me? Shame on you. You're fired. All right?
Okay, Mr. Singer. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay, thank you. Next, we'll have a report from the Accessory Advisory Committee, Mr. Sheehan.
Thank you very much. I'm pinch hitting today for Bill Posner and Denise Rush, the Accessibility Advisory Committee. We have several proposals that we would like to move forward. The first deals with with Metro Access. We are, as a committee, very interested in having a flat fare of $2 over the weekend. We would like to see that flat fare extended for a 6-month trial period, 24/7 for Metro Access. We think that the use of the flat fare is going to make good economic sense for WMATA. I think it's going to $4 flat fare is going to make good economic sense. We think it's going to be much more efficient. Right now, Metro Access riders have a difficult time trying to figure out why their fares keep shifting and changing over time for the same trip every day. And we understand the formula, but with the new changes that are being proposed, that is going to make things much more complicated. We think it's going to be much more effective, much more efficient for WMATA. Certainly it's going to be a lot easier for people to understand their fares that are taking Metro Access. So, and we would propose that In addition to that, we would also like to see, as Rico also talked about, a path for metro access riders that are taking subscription trips. We think that this will improve that situation with subscription trips. It will give incentives for individuals to sign up for those trips. If we have passes for bus and passes for rail, why don't we have passes for metro access in this portion of that population? With respect to metro access, I would like to say also a couple of good things. Congratulations to the Office of ADAP, to the board and staff that have proposed the Abilities Ride extension. We're going from two companies from Montgomery County and Georges County to 12. That should be really opening up sometime later this spring after it's been rolled out, and people have been educated on what this Abilities Ride project will do. What I'm hoping is that we will see increased efficiencies up to passing 86 or 88% on-time performance that we're seeing right now. We have noticed over the last 18 months in Montgomery and Georges County that trips have increased, and we think that it's saving a good deal of money for the metro access paratransit system. Looking at that over time, I think it's going to be important to see if we can have a more efficient system, increase on-time performance. And the third part of that I think is very critical is going to be the human service transportation. So you'll have dedicated fleets, dedicated transit properties that will be handling those difficult trips. And I think that's going to make it much more effective for those riders. Lastly, as far as metro access is concerned, we have had an ongoing inquiry with respect to Ranger, a GPS system, and Trapeze. I was doing some reading the other day, and I noticed in Baltimore that both Trapeze and Ranger had been hacked, and a lot of people in Baltimore were stranded. I think I did point that out to people in the Office of ADAP. If it happens in Baltimore or something like that, would happen in Washington, and I wouldn't want to see that happen. So those are my comments on metro access. With respect very quickly to the bus, we are very pleased with what we're seeing with the bus transformation project. We would like to take those recommendations from the bus transformation project, put them into our bus rail subcommittee, track them, and work to make sure that those areas get implemented. We have 3 members of our committee from the Disability Committee who worked with that project over the last year. And so disability issues were taken into account, which I think is very good, and we appreciate that, and I specifically appreciate being included. And lastly, when it comes to the Metro Rail, we have been working with the RAC. We have a series of, between the RAC and the AMAC, series of recommendations that we will be presenting up through staff to the board that we think will enhance the 8,000 series going forward. In the past, particularly with the 7,000 series, I think it was 18 or 19 out of the 20 recommendations that we put forward were accepted. So we look forward to putting those into the plan when we have of the 8,000 series car. It'd be great to have the disability community and the RAC, of which I'm a member also, but I'll talk about that. Look at that 8,000 series and then make additional recommendations. Lastly, just thank you for your support of what we do for the disability community. It makes a difference. Thank you. Are there questions for me?
Yeah, I was going to say, any questions for Mr. Sheen? Thank you, Mr. Sheen. Next, we'll hear from the Riders Advisory Council, Mr. Garrett.
Sorry, I'm trying to do this without making a lot of noise. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Andrew Carey. to know just a couple of things. And I know this is a long budget day, so I'll try to be less verbose than usual. We're concerned that there's no clear direction with this budget. We're concerned about the way that the budget projects improving rail ridership on the one hand, but harming in a very serious and meaningful way bus ridership. The word that we would use, or the phrase that we would use to describe the current state of bus ridership is the bus transit death spiral. We've talked about this before, about how cutting routes can also lead, of course, to declining ridership, which of course it will. And this can lead to further route cuts, especially given the constraints of the 3% subsidy cap. We would ask the board to seriously reevaluate the ways in which bus route changes are being proposed for FY21. Furthermore, we oppose in the strongest possible terms any surcharge placed on cash loading of buses. Obviously, we recognize that WMATA does refer into the cash processing. But with that said, buses serve those who are most vulnerable. And those who are most vulnerable are also the people paying cash for their fares. Taken together, those would have a serious and detrimental impact on those, again, who can be supported. We like the way the the FY21 budget handles pass options. On the other hand, we have serious concerns that we stand by that most employees who have transit benefits do not have access to these passes. They cannot use their smart benefits to pay for them. And in my case, working at a public university in Virginia, I have to jump through about 15 different hoops to get them to issue the right kind of benefits. We hope that WMATA will investigate and rapidly implement further improvements in smart benefits and the way that smart benefits are processed to allow those who have access to benefits and need access to passes to relieve their commute and the costs they incur paying for the cash fare or the smart trip cash fare to make things a little easier for them. I'd like to note a couple of things that have been passed along to me personally by riders in Fairfax County, those who have been most seriously affected by the Transdev strike. One rider described, and this is the only route that serves her house in Annandale. One rider described cutting the 29W as especially cruel, and given the impact the Transdev strike has had over them in the last couple of months. She described it as, quote, a slap in the face. Some of these changes, as have been noted by the people in Boulder Park here in the district, and some of them in Arlington and Prince George's and Montgomery County, of course, Fairfax as well, have very serious concerns about the affordability of where they currently live and their ability to get to work in a reasonably efficient manner. Some of the changes that are proposed, for example, along the Columbia Pike, do make sense as long as the full discount for rail to bus and bus to rail transfers is implemented. Terminating some of the 16s instead of all the way to Farragut or points into the district, and instead asking riders to transfer to Pentagon do make sense, but only if that full discount is implemented. Finally, I wish to emphasize the RAC's full-throated and hearty support for the rapid and full implementation of the recommendations made in the bus transformation project. We would add, furthermore, some of the changes, some of the proposals that were made in the May 2018 Stabilizing and Growing Metro Ridership Report, this old chestnut. For example, the implementation of all rewarding and changes to the way that fares are collected. For example, proof of purchase, as is done in so many other transit around the world. Finally, I'd like to welcome the new board member from the District of Columbia. It's our pleasure to have you here, and we look forward to working with you. And finally, Mr. Smender, I look forward to seeing you this evening at 7 in Meeting16. Happy to answer any questions you might have.
I'll be there.
Look forward to it.
That's what
I'm sorry, yes, I remember. Yes, nice to see you. Is I hope Christian will also be there.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you.
Okay, next we have the report of the chair. I'd like to call Maryland alternate to Kevin Potter. Kathy, are you here?
Yep.
Kathy, we'd like to take this opportunity to recognize you this afternoon, and I'd like to do the following recommendation. Whereas Kathy Porter has faithfully represented Montgomery County on the Metro Board of Directors since January 2011, and whereas Ms. Porter served on various committees during her tenure on the board, including multi-year service on the board's safety and security and customer service and operations committees. Whereas her time on the customer service and operations committee, Ms. Porter was a strong advocate for Metro's riders and stakeholders, and a proponent for including their perspectives in board deliberations and decision-making. Whereas a member of the Safety and Security Committee, Ms. Porter ensured that Metro acted in an open and transparent manner to address safety challenges. And whereas Ms. Porter served as vice chair of the board's governance committee and was committed to establishing effective structures and processes to help the board complete its work. And whereas Ms. Porter was a consistent proponent of regionalism during her tenure on the board, and whereas the board is grateful for the thoughtful, measured, and collaborative way she approached her service on the board, now therefore be it resolved that the Metro Board of Directors offers its sincere gratitude to Kathy Porter for her service and leadership as a member of the WMATA Board of Directors, and be it further resolved that the WMATA Board of Directors commends Kathy Porter for her dedication to providing the best service for WMATA customers in the region. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Goldman. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? It's unanimous. Thank you. Kathy, I know I speak on behalf of several people, and I know I was contacted by a few former board members, and they all said it was just a real pleasure, working with you, and I too can say the same. Very welcoming when myself and Christian joined the board, and we wish you the best as you move on to your next chapter, your next adventure, whatever it may be. And we'd like to recognize you with this small token of our appreciation.
Very much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And would you like to say a few words? Oh, you want to say a few words?
Thank you. I think I'm the last surviving member of the Maryland delegation, or member of Kathy when we got here. She's been for me kind of the mattress. She was president of the cremation. She was there when I first got here, a number of years ago. And she's been for me my professor, my teacher, my tutor in all things Metro, all things especially areas of transit-oriented development, community accessibility issues, and issues of how to move to community groups and to the other communities and municipalities in the Montgomery County area. Of course, she was able to do that because before coming to the board, she had a real career before that as the mayor of Tacoma Park, and that helped her very much in getting through this. I thought we would give this speech 7 or 8 months ago, and Kathy was trying to leave. She is now one of the longest expired term memberships on the board. But there's some Maryland law finally repeating and forced her to hang up. So congratulations. As before, I wish you well in the future. I wish you were staying for at least another 6 or 8 months until you have a place in. Thank you.
Well, thank you both for your very kind words, and I want to thank everyone who served with me on the board for your collegiality and the good working relationships that we had on the board. And I wanted to just make a couple of points. One is that I know that the ridership numbers that came out, I believe it was today, were a very positive sign for the system. And I think that the members of the board deserve some credit for that. I would also like to give some credit to Paul, of course, who was the person who directed it. People would sometimes ask me, well, what is the board doing to improve the system? And I'd say, well, making
because he went through some very difficult times. We had other good general managers before, but the time call came out, what we really needed was someone who would tell us things we did not want to hear. And Paul was very good at doing that and helped directed us in turning the system around. I also just wanted to make a plug for the use of alternate members. I noticed that today you have a number of your alternate members serving very well as your voting members. I would hope, without alternate members, you are losing a lot of experience and a lot of expertise. And I would hope that some of the Virginia members of the board would prevail on their legislation to undo the direction that they've gone and bring the alternate members and their expertise and their experience back onto the board. And thank you all very much. It's been a very productive, I think, 11 years, or 9 years. Thank you.
Okay, next, I'd like to call up Maryland's new appointee, Acting Transportation Secretary Gregory Slater. Greg was nominated to serve as Secretary of the Maryland Department of Transportation, MDOT, on December 2019, after more than 2 decades of public service. He is currently serving as Acting Secretary pending confirmation by the General Assembly. As Acting Secretary, Mr. Slater leads the Transportation Department with more than 10,000 employees and an operating budget of nearly $5.4 billion. He oversees every aspect of state transportation, from its highways, roadways, transportation systems and facilities, toll facilities, to motor vehicles, BWI Thurgood Marshall Airport, Helen Milch, Bentley, Port of Baltimore. His career growth includes nearly a decade as MDOT's SHA Director of Planning, where he developed a keen understanding of the transportation systems and MDOT's critical role in the safety, accessibility, mobility, economic viability, and quality of life for all Marylanders. Mr. Slater is a longtime Marylander, a 1997 graduate of Townsend University, and leads many communities and efforts to strengthen the industry within Transportation Research Board and the American Association of State Highway and Transportation Commissions. Greg, welcome to the WMATA Board. Please join me in the formal swearing in. Greg, please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Gregory Slater, do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and that I will faithfully, that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to the state of Maryland. And I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to the state of Maryland. And support the Constitution and laws thereof. And that I will, to the best of my skill and judgment, diligently and faithfully, without partiality or prejudice, execute the office of Principal Director of the Washington Metropolitan Area Transit Authority. Execute the office of Principal Director of the Washington Metropolitan Area. According to the Constitution and laws of this state. Thank you and congratulations.
Thank you, everyone who's been so welcoming to me. Just a little bit about myself, what you can expect from me is I'm a big fan of developing the best solutions through collaboration when every voice is at the table. So I am going to be one that's going to be reaching out and trying to listen and hear all the voices at the table and trying to bring people together.
Okay, now that Mr. Slater is on board, I move that we appoint Mr. Slater to the Finance and Capital Committee. Is there a second? Second. Seconded by Mr. Goldman. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? The ayes have it. The ayes have it. Thank you. Congratulations, Mr. Slater. As mentioned previously, we are now in budget season for fiscal year 2021, and today we will ask for approved budget proposal or docket for feedback to take to the public hearing in the coming weeks. This proposal is very robust and includes some fare and service changes. This will be the first time in 3 years that Metro has included a fare increase on the docket. We encourage our customers to tell us what they think. There will also be a variety of opportunities for input beginning next month. This includes a survey, pop-ups, and 3 public hearings, 1 in each jurisdiction. Please check the WMATA website for all the ways you can be involved and make your voice heard. As for my colleague and Finance Chair, Mr. McMillan, as he noted earlier, I would like to reiterate that today's vote only authorizes staff to take these proposals out for public input. After the board receives and reviews the public input, only then will we make any decisions on fares and service. Thank you. That concludes my report. Now I'd like to turn the floor over to the General Manager, Paul.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just want to give you an update on Cinerbed. As you know, earlier this week, Transdev and Metro's labor union local 689 reached an agreement to restore bus service in the Once the board members ratify the agreement and Transdev completes the ramp up plan, we will update customers about the timeline for service restoration next week. This agreement, along with our new contract with local 689, provides certainty to our employees and to our customers for the next 4.5 years. In terms of ridership, on the rail side, our efforts to improve safety and on-time performance are driving ridership growth. In 2009, Metro Rail ridership grew 4%, while Metro Rail on-time performance improved to its highest level of decade, with 89.8% of weekday riders arriving on time. Despite the challenges of our aggressive capital program and the federal government shutdown, ridership increased on weekdays by 3.3% to an average of 626,000 trips per day. Ridership on the weekends also increased significantly. On Saturdays, at 9.4% increase to 264,000 trips per day, and on Sundays, 6.5% increase to 168,000 trips per day. Looking forward, the proposed 21 budget includes several initiatives to build on the success by improving service and overall customer experience. Also wanted to, pleased to share that the Metro riders can now get where they need to go easier than ever thanks to a new feature in both Apple Maps and Google Maps. This update helps improve trip planning and makes it simpler and more convenient to choose Metro. Customers planning a trip on these applications can now view the actual location of Metro trains and buses updated in real time and displayed right on the app, along with detailed transit schedules, service information, and system connections to help plan their journey right in the app. The new data feed being supplied by Metro improves trip accuracy compared with using scheduled data. This data feed has also been released for third-party developers, which will allow them to integrate live train and bus information in more innovative ways as well. I also want to note that this open data feed was identified as an action item in the bus transformation project, which calls for accurate, real-time service information for all local providers available on the list. With Metro's real-time service information now readily available, we will continue to work with our partners to improve data sharing throughout the region. Mr. Chairman, this concludes my remarks.
Thank you, Mr. Weidfeld. Are there any comments or questions? Mr. Bolger.
This may has been covered since being an alternate in this election. Have you put out something with a new labor agreement at all that came out of the Transdev?
No, because it hasn't been approved yet. They're voting today.
Oh, they're going to vote?
They're voting today.
Okay.
Any other comments or questions from Mr. Weidfeld? Okay, next we'll turn to a report by the Safety and Operations Committee. Mr. Golden.
And before we do that, we have to switch.
docket. Obviously, they will move forward for advertisement, but I do expect there to be significant discussion about that. Those include a weekend flat fare of $2.75, a surcharge on Dulles Airport Station, and a fare increase in extra cash for Metro Extra Bus. There have also been some concerns expressed similar to those that we've heard today from some of the public about specific routes that have been proposed for cuts. I'm sure that as data and as information becomes available, there will also be a significant amount of discussion about those things. Obviously, this is a regional system. The situation in Virginia is a little different because we also have local bus service that the localities have decided to provide on their own at their own expense. That augments WMATA service, although those localities, for the most part, do also pay a subsidy. But there nevertheless are concerns about some of those routes that are proposed for cut. Today, as you noted, we are voting simply to advertise, so I will vote in favor of that motion, but look forward to further dialogue.
Mr. Slater.
Thank you. Similarly, some of the Maryland jurisdictions have expressed some concerns about integration with local transit providers, local service providers, and I just want to stress as this moves forward that we consider stressing that collaboration with local providers in